We are once again on location, and we are joined by a gentleman that you may or may not know, but I guarantee you know his events throughout the greater Inland Empire and especially throughout Ontario and the West Side. We are joined by Michael Kraus, who, and I'm going to butcher this, who is president and CEO of the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau, the Ontario Convention Center, and the Citizens Business Bank Arena.
You rock, Ron.
Oh,
you
my
got
God.
that right.
I
and
got
that's
that
a
right.
big, long title.
And when you hand someone your business card, it accordions, I'm guessing, right?
No,
It just-
Sue, our marketing head, has done a great job of condensing that.
Okay. I just want to know how many letters of the alphabet are actually not in your title somewhere. That's,
Well, you should add the acronyms after my name for all my accreditations.
Oh, there
that
you
drives
go.
everyone else crazy,
and
too.
that makes up for the missing alphabet letters.
It does, it does.
Well, Michael, you know, in the opening I said people may or may not know you, and a lot of people do know you, obviously, because you're very high profile. But everyone knows you guys do so many major events. We're here today to talk about the Route 66 Cruisin' Reunion, but you guys do a lot of events throughout the year. So I thought we could start by talking about really what you do to help the communities and to bring money into the communities through the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Well, sure. I'll start by suggesting a couple things here. Number one is the Visitor and Convention Bureau is an economic engine for the city. Not only do we create jobs, but we generate hotel rooms, which generates tax revenue. But when I talk about jobs, just the entities alone that we have oversight over have something close to 1,000 employees.
Wow.
In the entities that we've spoken about. That includes the convention center and the arena. But remember, all of those facilities and all of the other assets that we have oversight over also create guest experiences. So we're also in the customer service business. We're also in the food service business. So we employ a lot of food service staff. We're very well known for the quality of our food service product as well. But the thing that I would suggest to you here is in this building alone, which we're sitting in the Ontario Convention Center for this interview, the Convention Center does more than 500 events a year, and almost 1 million people a year go through both the Convention Center and the arena combined. The arena does over 700,000 attendees a year, for example, in that building. So there's a lot of people we got to service in a year, but just those two buildings as an example are one of our key components. But in addition to the event we're going to talk about today, we also run the Christmas on Euclid experience, which is the historic nativity scenes on Euclid Avenue.
Which is another event that, in a sense, you guys saved.
We did.
Because it was
Very
teetering.
proud
It
of
was
that.
on the brink.
Well, the statues had come into poor repair, and I have a little background in historic. I used to work years ago for the Biltmore Hotel in Los Angeles, which is a National Historic Landmark. These two are historic. And these statues had been, over the years, neglected purely because of lack of funding.
Right.
Well, we created a funding mechanism and a nonprofit that could fund that, and that's how we saved that. But now what I'm excited about, and we'll talk more another time about that event, is that we've engaged the local religious community to be partners of ours in that.
Nice.
So that's a neat thing. But then we also, you may remember, ran Huck Finn Jubilee.
It was
I know you were
wonderful.
disappointed to hear we weren't going to be doing that ourselves anymore, but I'm happy to report that the folks that we turn that over to are going to be, looks like, doing it here in the IE again. So we'll
now, see,
talk
I
to
don't
you
know
more
how
about that.
many people. I think a lot of people that loved it know that you let it go. I don't know how many people know that it is coming back, and that's.
We're very excited about that because it was one of our babies. We kind of nurse these things, and they're kind of our babies, and we want to be very thoughtful about the things that we put our hands in and don't, etc. This particular event, we really, we upped the numbers, the experience changed, the type of level of entertainment we brought in was quite superior. So we had a lot of excitement, and it was an iconic item here in the Inland Empire.
It was. I was going to that when it started up at Mojave Narrows.
Oh
up
my
in the high
gosh! Well, that's
desert.
where the family,
Yeah.
the Tucker family, who have been such great supporters of ours for that event after we took it. So we were bummed when we had to make that decision, but
it's
we'll
coming
be
back.
involved, and we're going to be
Yes.
involved anyway to help market it. So that'll
Cool.
be fun.
Cool. And you know what a lot of people I think don't recognize is what you said earlier, you fill the hotels. But the economic impact of that, the positive economic impact on the overall greater communities is huge because these people put gas in their cars, they eat, they shop. So you really help support economically this whole West End and beyond. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of people, why we're called the Greater Ontario Convention and Visitors Bureau, because we represent the West End, and what I mean by that is we represent the cities of Ontario and Rancho Cucamonga, and you might be interested to know that there's more than 6,000 hotel rooms in those two cities, most of which live in Ontario themselves. But there's 70 some hotels that represent all that. So there's a lot of hotel rooms. To put that in perspective, there are more hotel rooms here in Ontario than there are in downtown Los Angeles.
That's amazing.
Surprising.
All right, well, we're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we're then going to focus on what I think is one of the coolest events and another one that you guys, in a sense, saved. So don't go away. We will be right back. Hi, I'm Ron Stark, known as the voice of the Inland Empire. We've been on the air for almost 20 years, interviewing and discussing important people, places, and things in the IE. Our show was recently covered by Inland Empire magazine. Check us out on Charter Cable or visit our website at voiceoftheinlandempire.com or on Facebook or YouTube by searching Voice of the Inland Empire. We are back and joined by Michael Kraus, who is president and CEO of Half of the Known World in Ontario. And I just didn't want to have to try and say that all again.
I don't blame you. Don't say it again.
And Michael, the thing that we're really here to talk about is right behind us, the Route 66 Cruise and Reunion. And I know there's a decades-long history behind this and a great story about how it came to Ontario. So give us a little of that background, and when is this coming up?
Well, first of all, this will happen. This will be our 5th year operating it. And the way we got it is kind of a funny story. I'll try to be as brief as possible. Route 66 Rendezvous
out in San Bernardino.
And I actually was involved in many of the early years of that show back in my youth. And since I arrived at Ontario, they had to make a change. They didn't have the funding for it, etc.
That's when San Bernardino was really going through its financial crisis.
Yeah. The Bureau was no longer had funding, etc. Well, I knew the show well. I wanted it. I tried to buy it from them, keeping the name, etc. They weren't interested in that. They were trying to protect the brand. I understand that. But we said, they need a car show of this caliber, etc. And that's how we kind of started it. We just took the concept and something they weren't doing anymore and put it on historic Euclid Avenue with shade and shade from the warm weather. The cars have a lot more space and they can cruise, which is one of the most important things to the car aficionados, I guess you would call them. So that's kind of how it all happened.
And out in San Bernardino, it was really kind of spread out and it was hot. But, Euclid is so cool for these major events. It's just the grass tree-lined, down the middle. And so now, when is the event again, and what all is going to be taking place for people to come out and enjoy?
Well, first of all, the event happens on the third weekend in September, which is September 15 through 17 this year. It'll be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Starting Friday evening.
Okay. And Friday evening is Aloha Friday, so wear your ugly Hawaiian shirt. We have a cool band that'll be playing that night as well. But then in addition to that, we will have on Saturday night, we're very excited to present the original Blood, Sweat, and Tears with Bo Bice, the original. One of the originals will be here for our show. Now remember, these are at Ontario Town Square, which you might also be interested to know that we run.
Right.
So Ontario Town Square will be part of this event.
But that's right there. It's adjacent.
Oh, yeah.
It's right there off of Euclid.
Remember, we closed Euclid Avenue for the duration of this event, and the cars are lined up on Euclid Avenue. We'll have more than, close to 2,000 cars, and we'll have about 250,000 visitors.
And along with the cars, there's going to be booths and vendors.
Absolutely.
And there's going to be food.
Lots of food, lots of good food. And then we also have, of course, the vendors, as you mentioned, but we also have the neon light things at night, and we have all the good stuff.
The nighttime cruise.
They
is
love
so
that
cool
because
to
the
watch.
neons and, everyone loves that because, of course, it makes it another exciting thing. But the best part about the event is that we allow cruising, and that's a big thing to the car aficionados.
And then, so we know what's going on Friday and Saturday, quickly Sunday, and then how can people get more information?
The way you get more information is you go to Route 66 cruisinreunion.com, and that's how you get information on this event. Or you can come to the Ontario Convention Center, which is where we have a visitor information center. You can also gather information for this.
But if I go to the website, I'll see all the events,
All the
times,
registration, the events,
everything.
the route, anything you want to know is all at the
All right.
website.
Well, Michael, thank you for having saved at least a couple of major events that I'm aware of, and for all of the events you guys do to keep our neck of the woods prosperous.
It's our pleasure, and we're proud to do it.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you so much.
We will be right back.